Diablo spread his wings and confronted Feldway, causing the latter to abandon his plan to stop time and instead shift to a defensive stance, carefully analyzing Diablo's movements. This unexpected arrival distracted Feldway enough to allow Sylvia and the others to move freely. Despite Feldway's overwhelming superiority in magicules, energy, skill, and level, Diablo remained an unpredictable and formidable adversary, forcing Feldway to consider a decisive approach if a battle ensued. As tension filled the air, Zelario, recognizing an opportunity, attempted to propose cooperation to Diablo, but his words were immediately cut off by a dismissive refusal. Diablo wasn't interested in merely stopping Feldway. He was here to teach him his place, his confident smirk making it clear that he didn't perceive Feldway as a true threat. Zelario, though well aware of Diablo's strength, struggled to understand his reasoning, as Diablo had fewer magicules than himself. However, Diablo wasn't one to misjudge himself, and the fact that he was making this claim after observing their battle suggested that he had a plan. Leon and Almesia, listening nearby, came to the same conclusion and decided to let Diablo handle things for now, seeing it as an opportunity to regroup. Yuuki, despite his usual boldness, instinctively sensed something far more dangerous in Diablo than even in Feldway. Having met Diablo before, he realized that the demon had been masking his true nature, like a wolf pretending to be tame. Back then, Rimuru had been present to restrain Diablo, but with Rimuru absent, Diablo was now an unchecked force, an unstoppable entity moving without brakes. Understanding this, Yuuki saw no reason to interfere, and instead politely yielded the battle to Diablo. Zelario, who normally prioritized teamwork and pragmatism, initially found it difficult to accept this course of action, but given that Diablo was someone who operated entirely outside the realm of cooperation, he eventually relented, acknowledging that it was inevitable. With that, everyone silently agreed Diablo would take the stage, and they would watch the outcome unfold. Diablo and Feldway faced off in a tense one-on-one duel, with Feldway suppressing his fury to maintain control over the battle's pace. He carefully analyzed Diablo, searching for any sign of a trap but found none, leading him to question whether Diablo truly believed he could win alone. The idea seemed absurd to Feldway, as he had absorbed most of the power needed to resurrect Veldanava, making him nearly invincible. In his mind, only Milim, at the peak of her evolution, could pose a challenge, and he intended to eliminate all threats before that became a possibility. Seeing Diablo's unwavering confidence only irritated him further, and he decided to turn the battle into a demonstration of his godlike power. Choosing to end their exchange of words, Feldway invited Diablo to descend, intending to crush him decisively. Diablo, in his usual composed arrogance, accepted the invitation, descending with a smirk that suggested he had already foreseen his victory. As both landed on the ground, Feldway prepared his arc, while Diablo unsheathed his claw scissors, setting the stage for an intense and decisive battle. Diablo taunted Feldway, mocking his inability to eliminate weaker opponents, accusing him of either procrastination or arrogance. Feldway, though momentarily stunned, countered by pointing out that Diablo himself often held back against weaker foes. However, Diablo remained unfazed, stating that, for him, it was merely a hobby. He enjoyed drawing out an opponent's full potential before crushing them, seeing it as both entertainment and a way to refine his own skills. His words caught Zelario's attention, prompting him to directly ask whether Diablo had been holding back during their previous fight. Feldway, intrigued by the question, also became curious as Diablo's magicule level was far lower than both Zelario's and his own, yet he had fought on equal footing with Zelario. If Diablo had been suppressing his power, Feldway might have to reconsider his assessment of him. Diablo, however, simply laughed and denied holding back, much to Zelario's disappointment, as it confirmed his belief that even with Diablo joining forces, Feldway was still untouchable. Without further delay, Feldway swung his arc with what seemed like a casual attack, yet the power behind it was monstrous. From an observer in space, it would have appeared as an impossibly thin beam of light slicing through the planet. The overwhelming force shattered Diablo's left-hand claw scissors and severed his left arm at its base. The sheer scale of destruction stunned everyone. If Diablo, one of the strongest beings present, could suffer such a devastating blow so quickly, it was clear that Feldway had yet to reveal even a fraction of his true strength. Feldway, with a fierce smile, mocked Diablo, claiming that his last attack should have ended the battle and expressing surprise at Diablo's unexpected resilience. Diablo, amused yet intrigued, acknowledged that Feldway had managed to break his claw scissors, a mythical class god weapon, but Feldway dismissed it as inferior to his own arc, which he revealed to be of Genesis class, a level far beyond its apparent rank. Diablo, recognizing this revelation, deduced that Feldway had been fully accepted as the weapon's master, allowing him to wield its full power without risk to his body. Feldway confirmed this, explaining that while his previous temporary body had been incapable of withstanding such a weapon, his current form had no such limitations. As Diablo repaired the damage he'd taken, he compared the weapon's power to Guy's Wald and Millem's Tenma Asura, recognizing its hidden potential. Feldway admitted that the Ark had been disguised as a mythical class weapon, but in reality, it was one of only 7 Genesis-class weapons created by Veldanava, the Star King Dragon. Originally intended for the Primogenitor's 7 angels, Feldway had been the only one capable of handling one at the time, leading Veldanava to distribute them among select individuals instead. Feldway then listed the current wielders of Genesis-class weapons, Guy, Rudra, Ramiris, Twilight, Millem, and Lucia, and declared his intent to reclaim them. He recalled that even these weapons demanded a perfect body to wield them without being consumed by their immense power, which was why Veldanava himself, after losing his strength, had entrusted Asura to Guy. Notably, had Millem wielded Asura during her crazed stampede state, she would have unleashed its full Genesis class might, likely overpowering Chloe and Veldora completely. The fact that this catastrophe hadn't occurred was a stroke of luck. As Feldway spoke with unwavering confidence, he showed no doubt that victory was already his. As the overwhelming power gap became evident, Yuuki's group was left speechless, while Zelario, Elmesia, and the others resigned themselves to the inevitable, thinking, "I guess this is it." Only Chloe refused to give in, glaring at Yuuki and demanding his help, but her unwavering determination was an exception. The rest were consumed by an unprecedented despair, except for one person. Diablo, who had boldly declared his intent to defeat Feldway, showed not a hint of concern. Instead, he burst into laughter, his composed demeanor unsettling even Feldway. Calling the situation interesting, Diablo dismissed the difference in their weapons as nothing more than a handicap, treating it as a thrilling challenge. Though he claimed it had been a while since he fought seriously, Diablo had occasionally unleashed his full strength before. However, this time was different. There were no restrictions, no constraints. This was Diablo at his absolute peak. Exhilarated, he likened the situation to a rare, electrifying thrill, his eerie grin enough to terrify anyone watching. Feldway, unwilling to entertain Diablo's madness, attacked without hesitation, unleashing a Godspeed slash capable of cleaving even the stars. The attack was so decisive that, even after seemingly cutting Diablo in half, Feldway was prepared to adjust if necessary. Yet, the expected result never came. The earth cracked, dust filled the air, and the atmosphere burned with lethal intensity, but Diablo still stood. Instead of being bisected, he had taken the attack head-on. As Feldway attempted to push his nebula arc further, it met resistance, the rainbow-colored claw scissors, clashing against the radiant, flickering blade. Diablo had stopped the unstoppable, and the real battle was only just beginning.